welcome, everybody to SmackDown Review Show. It is Saturday. We're about a half an hour behind, but you know what? It's all right. Take a drink with me. We'll be all right. Now, as always, I am your host, joined by my co-host Vic. Hey, how was your week, brother?
Good. Not bad. It was pretty exciting. WrestleMania season is here. We just need this rain to go away right now. That's
Oh
all.
man, it's pouring right now outside. We
Mm-hmm.
expect to get like 4 inches of rain right here, so it's
Mm,
a it's a, it's one of those lazy days for me right now. But
thanks.
but uh, SmackDown, we still getting fire SmackDown shows, man. I know Rock wasn't
Mm-hmm.
there last night, but we still got a fire SmackDown show, and we're gonna jump right into it, man. The show started off pretty strong.
Hell
We
yeah.
getting Santos Escobar versus Rey Mysterio, and you know what? I don't have a single bad thing to say about this match because both of them brought it. Um,
I mean, I think it should have. I feel like that match should have been on a pay per view.
yeah,
Because I don't understand the storyline or as far as putting it on SmackDown. I mean, like this is the filler season for it,
hmm
but this story, like, I mean, they did a quality match, and mind you, like, shout out to Rey Mysterio for literally coming back and putting on quality. No limping, nothing. And so, I mean, then these guys, they know each other. They're clearly pushing a story,
yeah.
but I really don't know what that story is. Um,
Um,
I mean, not that I don't know what it is. It's just that I don't know where it's going, because it should have definitely gone to Mania. But if this is leading to Rey Mysterio versus Dominic too, then it would be fine. But I mean, but that story's done, in my opinion. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, the match was great and everything was great. It's just that, like, I'm just trying to figure out what's going on here.
I will say that I think the the little vignette that they had um earlier showing Santos and like the story of Santos and Rey Mysterio,
Hmm.
I think that was pretty dope. Um,
Yeah, that part
because
of it was dope, but then bringing
I didn't
Dominic into
realize
it just
how
doesn't.
far back this whole story has been going.
Yeah, it's been over
Um,
a year already.
it's been pretty much since Dom has turned on Ray.
Hmm.
Um, because remember Santos was he was kind of tagging with Ray for a little bit
Yep.
um against Dom,
Hmm.
and then when he turned, he kind of he favored Dom more, and I thought that was pretty dope. Of the way that the guard had changed between those guys, um, but the bulk of bulk of the match was um pretty much. I think it was a great changing of the guard, as
Mm.
far as them recognizing Santos as one of the budding stars of Latino wrestling, because they, down in Mexico, they know about Santos, right? It's getting the Americans to be more acclimated with who he is. It's like back in like 2012 when Alberto Del Rio was the guy from Mexico. Nobody really knew who he was in the states like that, but down south they knew who Roberto Alberto was that
Yeah.
guy. If
It's
he
unfortunate, but they end up becoming a lot of them end up becoming regional stars,
Mhm.
if that makes sense. Like, a lot of it ends up being like Bret Hart during his heel run,
Right.
where like he's cheered in a certain place and then he's booed in another place, or even not even, where they don't necessarily know. Like, every time they go to the West Coast and the Southern West Coast, not the Northern West Coast, but the Southern West Coast. Every time they go over there, it's always a huge pop. Always, you know what I mean? A whole bunch of flags everywhere, and all of that. Puerto Rico, clearly, but like, um, I feel like a lot of the times it's just for the pop. Now, as far as this goes, this is a story that's been going on past the whole year, right? So now my problem with yesterday is just Dom came out. Um, I think that some of LWO should have came out. At least Carlito should have came out, so that then they can continue something with Carlito and Escobar. Because the truth of the matter is just that, like, you know, I respect Rey Mysterio because the guy's been wrestling since WCW consecutively,
Hmm.
like barely any breaks. So, like, but apparently, and the same thing with Bobby Lashley. But the thing is that, like, eventually his time is going to come up. There's only so much that you could do with Rey Mysterio. And the other thing I respect about him is that, like, he helped these two kids, these two guys, Dom and Escobar. Those are like his kids. He's
Yeah.
basically he's bigging them up. You know what I mean? He's putting them on the map, and I love that. I
What's up,
totally
G?
love that. My only issue is, when it came to last night, like, all right, what's next? You just came
I,
back, you fighting with Escobar, which you should have done at WrestleMania. But then where are you going with this?
you know what? As the match was going on, something in my head was like, I could see Dom coming here, but why would Dom come here, especially by himself, right? He doesn't show up by himself anywhere. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and once I convinced myself like he was not going to show up by himself, and then we see him taunting his dad, wearing one of his dad's masks, and that causes some confusion for Ray. Ray gets hit with a 619. How ironic that he gets hit with 619 from Santos,
Mm-hmm.
and Santos gets the W. I wouldn't necessarily say, Jeffrey, that we're going to get a Dom versus Ray. I would say we're getting Dom and Escobar versus Ray and Carlito. And if they can make that
See now,
Mania card, I'd say it'd be a pre-show match, which is
probably.
still fine. It's an action-packed Mania card so far. So for them even if you make the pre-show, you're
I
still
mean,
good.
personally, it should be. I think it should be Rey Mysterio and Ricochet, because they've been doing that little thing with Ricochet. Ricochet already beat two people of the Judgment Day.
Oh yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? And that's what I would literally like. If Ricochet would have came out and then started beating up Dom, then in my opinion, it would have made some sense, because then they would have
I
had
feel
a
like at
little
some
thing.
point with Ricochet, the numbers game that the Judgment Day has over him,
Mm.
I feel like Braun Strowman is ready to come back soon.
Oh, that
And
would be hot if they
that
do
was his
that.
tag partner. So,
Mm.
I just a small uh inkling there on my part of thinking that, but I think that Braun comes back. He needs to get inserted in that world title picture. So I couldn't necessarily see it, but I could see it because Judgment Day would have the numbers. Um, so I don't think um, I
I hope he
think
does come back. He's like a young Big Show.
he is, and I was thinking mentally if Raw has like to get one more team in that tournament. Um, I could see if Ricochet was in that tournament. I don't think that he is though.
Mm-mm.
If he can get in that tournament, you could probably save Braun Strowman for uh to show up at Mania, or you could have him show up the week before Mania to help push that ladder match. But I think it's too close to call at this point. Um,
Mm.
I think Ricochet probably will get left off the card unless there's like some battle royal going on. It's either pre-show or battle royal for Ricochet, unfortunately, because he's having a strong
Mm.
showing right now.
He
To
is.
the closer it gets to Mania, but I
Mm.
just don't see anything for him that'll make me care other than those two things, which is the tag match or a battle royal. And which if it's a battle
Mm.
royal, if it's not Bobby Lashley winning, it should be Ricochet because he's showing off. But Bobby Lashley
Facts.
probably win another battle royal two years in a row because they are doing him dirty. He has no spot on the card.
Yeah, he doesn't. He doesn't. I mean, and do the Street Profits have a spot on the card so he could at least come out as a manager?
You know
Like,
what? They're close. They're close.
because they
Next
won the
week,
match, but what is it that for the was it for
yeah.
the tournament?
They have one more to go with um they have Austin and Waller to go through
Oh,
before.
okay. So they probably will put him in WrestleMania then.
Um, so
Yo,
let's
for the
get into
Street
that.
Profits to fight. Hold up, wait a minute. Yeah, for the
Let's
Street
let's
Profits
let's
to
get
fight.
let's
Yeah,
get into that right now. We're jumping all over the place, but since that
we
is the
are.
top of the
We are.
conversation,
we
let's
are.
go ahead.
Word
No,
up.
I really want to keep it hot because that's where the conversation had led to, and um, so we're going to take it there. Since we were talking about it, Street Profits, um, they face Authors of Pain, which this is a nobody cares to see this anymore. It just
Yeah,
ran its course.
exactly.
Um, but the bracket showing, first of all, we'll get into the OC in a bit. Theory and Waller versus Street Profits. I honestly don't know who would go over
Nah,
at this
man.
point
It's
in time. I
definitely the
don't
Street
know.
Profits. It's the Street Profits. It's got to be the Street Profits. Street Profits have been taking way too many L's. You know, they've been trying to find themselves. Like this is also a way to put Bobby Lashley into the show. Theory and Waller, they've done. They don't need to be um in the show somehow. You know what I mean? They can also fight in singles and do something else. Like they don't need, and they're besides they're not a real team. They're just a couple of guys that got put together. Like literally, like Pretty Deadly is more of a team than Theory and Waller. Like Theory and Waller are just a couple guys that will put together because they're good shit talkers and whatever, but they're not really a team. I don't think anybody necessarily is looking at them as the future tag team champions. And if they do, they'll have a run like Pretty Deadly did in NXT, where there's just like, yes, boys, you know what I mean, with the belts and blah blah blah, and then that's it. There's not going to be any story behind it. So I think that this match though might end up what breaks them up, because clearly, like they've been itching towards that over the
Theory and
past
Waller,
couple of months. Yeah, but
I can
the
see
thing
that.
is that they're both singles wrestlers. Like they're both, you know what I mean? And like right now they're doing jobs for legends and doing all kinds. I mean, look at what happened in Perth. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
they're not really a
I
team,
can
so they
see
might
that.
break
I
up.
can see that, and I could also see the Street Profits losing. Um,
Ooh.
as much as I love the Street Profits, let's not forget Bobby. Bobby is trying to instill success into these guys and a certain mind state to these guys.
Mm-hmm.
Remember when he was first recruiting them, um, he told him he was done messing with them, right? And then they had a change of attitude, and then all of a sudden they changed. They were borderline tweeners, more so leaning on the heel side, and they all of a sudden flicked the switch back and made them full faces, um, which kind of threw that off because I think everybody wanted to see the edgier Street Profits, and maybe them missing out on Mania makes them edgier, all of them. Um, but
Mm.
I can't see them doing Lashley dirty again. I mean, I get last year wasn't his fault with Bray Wyatt, but I don't think anybody was checking for a Bray Wyatt versus Bobby Lashley match in the first place because I know I wasn't. As big as of a Lashley fan I am,
Mm-hmm.
big as a Bray fan I am, I did not like the rendition of Bray that we got, especially not going against Bobby with the run that he was having. So maybe the
Yeah.
the change of attitude that the Profits losing, Lashley's not being on the card, maybe that is the switch that they need. Because as we know, the night after the Raw after Mania is the start of the new WWE season, so to say. That's why
I
we're getting
mean,
the
but then
slowness.
here's the other thing though, like the Street Profits versus it would be the Street Profits versus Judgment Day at Mania. No? Wait, this is for the
This is for the ladder match. This is the
for the ladder
multi-man
match.
match.
What's wrong with
Yeah,
me?
yeah.
Word up. This is for the ladder match. Hello.
So even if the Profits are on
No,
the card,
definitely,
Bobby's still not
definitely,
on the card.
definitely. No. Definitely Street Profits. I think that they just would be better for the match, period. You know what I mean? Like Montez Ford is gonna do some wild shit off of somewhere. They don't have
Probably
to
not. And
win. They don't have to win the match. They don't got to do it. But Montez Ford is going to do something buck wild. The Theory and Waller are not needed for this ladder match. They're just not.
now, Shay, when you say Bobby being left off the card for Mania doesn't move you, like you don't care if he's on the card or if he's not on the card, I'm appalled. Is that what you? Please don't tell me I'm that smart that I just interpret it that way.
I mean,
And
like,
just
here's
I
the
don't know what
thing.
I
I
believe.
understand. I understand where she's coming from because Bobby. Let's not forget, Bobby Lashley was in WrestleMania 23.
Donald Trump.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like, let's not forget that. Like, Bobby Lashley is not fresh face, not fresh baby face. He's not somebody that's new. You know what I mean? And she's talking about it like if we were gonna see Undertaker come out of retirement to start a new streak. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the truth. I mean, symbolically, Bobby Lashley is great because Bobby Lashley, at almost 50 years old, looks super young. And a lot of us remember Bobby Lashley from almost 20 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, the guy is an ECW champion. Nobody in the card could say that. You feel what I'm saying? Like, yo, this guy, and then he still looks like he is the epitome of black don't crack. Straight up. Because he
Now,
looks
would
younger
you
than Angelo Dawkins. Angelo Dawkins looks older than Bobby Lashley.
was stressing, man? He trying to keep his spot on the card. He might as
Facts.
well shave his head bald
Facts.
at this point.
Facts.
Um, so with the so it looks like Lashley's not having a spot on the card, right? But if you would you entertain Lashley Lesnar again at Mania?
Hell
Would
yeah.
that match be fit on this card?
Hell yeah. Bobby was pushing for that for years. So you know those two are gonna put on a quality match. You know what I mean? Like that's some shit because like, at the time it was that both of them had done MMA and they had, you know what I mean? It was just this whole thing is just big, meaty match. Yeah, I think people would love it, to tell you the truth. It would be a
Yeah,
great grudge match.
I
It
mean,
certainly
yeah.
would be better than AJ Styles and LA Knight right now.
Okay, you know what? Let's go there because I actually, aside from um last night, uh before last night happened, I was not on with this match.
Yeah, they had
Um
to do this last night in order to make it more hype. Now, don't get me wrong, that was classic. Like, the guy went to his house and all of that. Didn't they do that with Triple H and Randy Orton back in the day?
Yep, and
You
me
know
and
what I
Mike were
mean? Like,
watching in the party, and I said
mm,
before they showed the preview of LA Knight, I said, "What did he go to his house or some Triple H and Randy Orton type stuff?" And that's
yeah,
exactly what he did. And you know what? I liked it. I liked it. It made it. First of all, can we just acknowledge Big Beard Styles, Big Arm Styles? Like, this
mm-hmm.
man is jacked right now. He look like a powerful leprechaun right now. And I'm saying
Facts.
that, and I'm not even a tall person, but I think I'm just as same size as AJ Styles, but if my arms look like that, I would look disproportionate. And AJ does not
Mm-hmm.
look disproportionate. He looks like a miniature bodybuilder, right? And he's in his
Facts.
gym, he's talking and cutting the promo, and he just hears beeping outside. He's beep, 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 and the camera cuts to LA Knight, and he's just beep, beep, yeah, beep, beep, yeah. I'm like, what is going on? What did you think about that segment?
I mean, I thought it was funny. I thought it was cool. You know what I mean? The way that they at least the way that they're building this match, it reminded me a lot of, actually, you know what? It made me wonder if they had the Boneyard match on his property. I wondered that. I wondered if they had that Boneyard match with him and Undertaker on his property, because it just, for some reason, like, just like the road and the drive. I mean, it is Georgia, so, like,
It was
a
in
lot
between
of people.
Georgia and Florida. It definitely was in between Georgia and Florida.
Well, no, because what my point is just that people over there, they have acres. It's not like they have blocks and lots. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
they have all of this land where they could do stuff. So, I wondered if AJ Styles, like, literally offered his house for that match at WrestleMania 36. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, I'm
Very,
curious.
very, very much so. He probably could have, because, right, like, while he may have all of this land, right, and like the commentary was like, "You're gonna wake his neighbors," or what does his neighbor think about it? You know
His
what? He
neighbors are
probably
mad far, bro.
it's probably still like, this is probably still a gated community, and
Mm-hmm.
everybody has mad land. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you see the size of his house? Like, that
Facts.
shit is huge.
Yeah.
That shit was huge, man.
Mm-hmm.
I I just love the segment so much, and the fact that like was AJ was acting like a Karen for a minute.
He was. He really was.
When
Wow.
the part at the bottom picture, like AJ, that was AJ's Karen moment because LA is getting put in the handcuffs. AJ
Mm-hmm.
doesn't need to say anything else, and he comes up there and he smacks him in the face.
Yep.
Why the man can't do anything? And then the guy takes AJ's arm and is like, "You want to go to jail too?" He just pushed him off. Like, these cops are trash because he literally
Right.
just pushed that cop off. So, if they're rented cops, they can't be real cops. I don't think they're real
Nah,
cops at all.
nah.
But still, those are
They're probably NXT guys.
probably,
Mm.
probably for sure. But I would just say this segment alone has made me uh more intrigued for this match, and I've said it for the past 3 weeks. I've not been wanting this match in any sense of the word. Um, I get it for those, and I was a big TNA guy at its height. Um, and into the beginning of the Impact era where Eli Drake was big. And this was a match that people were clamoring for. I've seen this on an indie
Mm.
uh, show, and I don't care to see it again, but I guess this kind of brings it a little bit for me. But so you're still not with this match? You don't want to see this match?
Who? I mean, no, I'll watch it, but it's not something that I'm hype about. I think that they just started doing this because they needed to figure out what to do with LA Knight. Like personally, this is why I didn't want to see LA Knight go after the title because of this situation right here. They don't know what to do with this guy. Like he has all of this hype. He's got all of this, yeah.
It's just no room.
But they don't know what to do with him. You know, and that's the shit. Like he should have been chasing a title. They should have been doing something, right? Mind you, when they put the $1 million championship on him, I didn't realize how much money he was.
Yeah.
Like that shit was straight foreshadowing and all of that. You know, mind you, I even liked the gimmick when he was Maxine Dupree, when he was all up in your face
Yeah,
and
that was
acting
funny. I
up.
thought it was great.
Yeah, the guy is good. The guy's a good actor. The guy's great in the ring. The guy knows what he's doing. He knows the business. You know, the reality is that he doesn't have that much time left. So they got to do something with him. Now, that whole situation where John Cena came in, gave him the rub, put him in the match, and now he has this chip on his shoulder that he almost beat Roman Reigns, right? So that's as far as they gave it to him. But the shit about it is, it's just that like now I just feel like they don't know what to do with him. So they threw him at AJ Styles, and him and AJ Styles are gonna have a quality match. I certainly think the match is gonna be quality. But as far as story goes, I'm very curious to see, you know, what happens with LA Knight, because like I really, really feel like they don't know what to do with him. You know, same thing with AJ Styles, same thing with the OC, same thing with Me Yim. You know, I mean, the card is stacked. So I mean, even I'll even say this, even Bianca Belair, I have no idea what the hell they're doing with her. But if it's a heel turn, I'm here for it because I'm liking to see the little attitude that she has. But anyway, I'm rambling all over the place
No, no, you're
because
good.
like
You're good. I am soaking up what you're putting down. Pause. But um, did anybody catch him when he was getting put in the cuffs? And he was like, the cop was like, get in the back seat. He was like, in the back seat, yeah. Like when the cop, the camera in the cop car
yeah.
was taking so long. I'm like, how the fuck do you still stay in character? Like, if I'm one of those cops, I
Oh
cannot
man.
keep my I cannot keep my composure if this man is getting arrested and he's just in his handcuffs. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, I'll be back, AJ. Yeah, like, come on. I'm like, yo, cut. We got to take another take. Like, there's no way I can keep a straight face if I got to do this. Like, absolutely no. Um, but I like this. I like this. He's a wannabe attitude era guy. I mean, through and through. There's no debating that.
Mhm.
It's just it is what it is. He's about 20 years too late. But any other time, yeah, that it would work. But as of now,
I mean, he got
um,
lucky because what just got replaced with yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Um, so we want to get back into
Yeah, we went all over the place.
we did,
Mhm.
but we're all over it. We're all over the card. But I want to get into what we just talked about before we skipped around, which was the second match of the night, and um I actually got excited for a split second, right? I got excited for a split second because of this. But when I realized what was going on, the intelligent wrestling fan in me said that this is a swerve 100%. Um, and I was fooled the whole time. Uh, Theory and Waller against the OC. Any other person would pretty much tell you the OC should win this match. 100%.
Mhm. Mhm.
But of course, Theory and Waller go over, and it's because of
Mhm.
the feet being held up in the middle rope by Theory onto Gallows.
Mm.
So OC continues their downward spiral. However, they look good on NXT,
Yeah.
but then they look bad on the main roster, which
Yeah.
makes no sense to me. But these guys just like I just think that they're just enjoying the check that they have. They
I
get
think so too. I
they
was
get
about to say
to
that.
be with their best friend in AJ Styles, and they get
Mhm.
to. I think they all ride out in the sunset together,
Yeah.
um, which is fine. I
Yeah.
think that's completely fine. Everybody can't stay on top forever. I think that's the
Mm-mm.
misconception with a lot of wrestling fans. Um, Everybody has that lightning in the bottle moment. Some people get it twice, some people get it three times, but not everybody stays on top the whole time of their career. And not everybody is meant to be a 100% superstar, $1,000, $100 million merchandise mover at all times. It just doesn't happen that way.
I personally think that those guys are doing the Brian Danielson, where they're just putting everybody over.
And that's fine. That's
You know
fine.
what I mean? It just
It doesn't
yeah.
take away from any of their accolades that they've
No,
accomplished in their career. I just wish
exactly.
that for what the people know the Good Brothers to be in
Mhm.
New Japan and Impact, um, I would just wish that we could get more of that seriously on the WWE side, because let's face it, at the end of the day, if you're going to go in the Hall of Fame, it's got to be the WWE Hall of Fame. There's no other Hall of Fame. WWE is the gold standard for this stuff. We're talking professional wrestling, so I just hate that the
No, I
OC
mean, there's a Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, like, upstate somewhere, but, like,
isn't that
Dolph Ziggler
like
Dolph
mat,
Ziggler's been part of that
isn't that
Hall
like
of Fame for,
mat
like, 10
wrestling?
years. No, 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 that's pro wrestling, regular, you know what I mean? There's a Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, but it's not run by WWE. Like, Dolph Ziggler is part of that Hall of Fame, and he's been part of it for a long time already. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
But, like
he's like a champion in his school, right? He's like a
no,
mat
no, no,
wrestling
but
champion.
it's not that kind of wrestling, though. It's
Because I know Kurt
regular.
Angle's in one,
Mhm.
and they acknowledge his mat wrestling and his professional. But I think that
Mhm.
it was more so his because they have his singlet. They have his singlet from Wrestlemania that he was trying to get on A&E's Hidden Treasures. Um,
Mm. But I mean, yeah, no, they have this Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame that they induct people into every year, but it's kind of like at a senior center, like at a nursing home type of thing. You know what I mean? Like, remember when Hall of Fame like first came out way, way back in the day? They
yeah.
didn't have it in like the whole arena. It was just like in a bingo hall type of thing. That's what it looks like when
Oh,
they do it.
okay.
But
Okay.
like, I mean, and it's recognized, and they have all these plaques and all of this other shit. But it is, and like, I mind you, TNA has their Hall of Fame, but it was so cute because I remember when Abyss got into the Hall of Fame, they like rented a bar here in New York, and they had these little parties for Abyss's Hall of Fame thing. But that's because Abyss went to WWE. That shit was hilarious.
Yeah, Curvin. Yes, the actual tournament bracket is to get into the actual match at Mania. So it's what is it? I think it's like five teams. It's five teams, um, and Yeah, so 2 from SmackDown, 3 from Raw.
Yeah, so they're basically
So
having a Money in the Bank contest
yeah,
for the tag titles.
I mean, I
It's
get it. It builds a
crazy.
suspense, but it also, I just think that they don't know who they actually want to be um in the championship match, and as opposed to giving it down to one team versus Judgment Day, you have a chance to analyze your whole tag division as a whole every single week, and you can play with the pieces. Like that's the beauty of WrestleMania not knowing is you can play with the different pieces on the chessboard just to see how you're going to get to um that final mark. And
I
it's really hard.
mean,
It's really hard because if you want 3 heels, 3 faces, or you want 4 heels, 2 faces, it's really hard. So um
personally, I think this is the perfect time to change the belts. Because if it's a ladder match, instead of having the belts that Judgment Day has with the blue and the red and all of that, I
mhm,
think that's when the belt should be unveiled. Like, because clearly they got to have new belts. They don't have side plates. The New Day was like when the New Day became NXT Championship, they had the first time they had side plates.
yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like it's never happened. It has to happen now. Every other belt's gotten changed. I think that if they do this, like right there at 40, it's perfect timing. It's very symbolic, and hopefully they go to like an older style. You know?
You know what, Curvin? I in a sense agree with this, right? But I also, if anybody watches A&E Hidden Treasures, they're going around to get the merchandise of Hall of Famers so that this place is already being built. They already have the stuff at the warehouse. So this place, wherever it's going to be, is being built. So it's in the process. And that's a Triple H thing because Vince didn't want that. Triple H thought that why are we putting these people in the Hall of Fame if there's not an actual building? Remember that was one of Scott Steiner's gripes because he did not think that the idea was great to have a Hall of Fame and no building. So yeah, I agree with you. Changing
Mm,
the titles, they've done it with the WWE Championship. They've done it with the World Heavyweight Championship.
mm,
Just getting the Raw Championship, SmackDown Championship brand off of the names of the titles, I think is a good look. I think WWE and World are to go back to that because we got that during Ruthless Aggression with the merger of WCW, ECW versus WWE. And you had at that point you had so many titles. You know what? E- Even that merger still didn't have as many titles as 80 AEW has right now. Like that's a
mm.
shame. That's a shame. But
Facts.
we're gonna take a quick commercial break, y'all. We are halfway through this thing. We still got the face off between Cody and Roman Reigns to go through, and what happened with Damage Control, and there's big Cargill news going on. So y'all stay
Mhm.
tuned. We'll get right back to you guys.
Next, we get into Drew McIntyre. He's going to cut a promo in the ring, but he almost gets he gets interrupted really while he's walking up the ringway to get to the ring by Seth Rollins, and Seth interrupts him. He dances like a clown, and he blah 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 blahs. And Drew's like, "You're stealing the spotlight again, and you have to beat The Rock and make this about you being the biggest star. It can't just be the biggest match. This is my time." And Seth is like, "You're right. I'm an attention whore. Ha ha. I'm an attention whore. Everybody sing my song." And I hated
What
every
the
second
hell
of
was
it.
that?
That's his laugh. John. I can't stand Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins ruins everything.
You really don't like Seth Rollins?
I mean, he even ruined Becky. I mean, he ruins everything. I agree with The Rock. He's a walking clown emoji.
Now, see, I think Seth is my favorite wrestler.
I don't believe that for a second.
I'm serious. Right now on the main roster, he's my favorite.
All right. Well, this is terrific. So did you enjoy the promo exchange between him and Drew McIntyre? I mean, again, more of the same.
No, because I knew what it was. Like we know that Seth Rollins is going to take on Drew McIntyre, and I just really hope that this is not a turn of events where Drew McIntyre is going to take the title off of him, which I have a feeling it is. But again, I don't. This is why I stopped watching Raw. Was no matter what pay-per-view it is, it's like every week, it doesn't matter if they did a promo before, after, or the week prior. It's the same information, but
And that is the Raw review show. You can catch them every Monday after Raw. It's supposed to be executive consultant. I don't know if it's executive. I don't know. There's like a moving chairs thing going on right now, but catch them immediately after Raw. We're gonna get right back into the show, and this is what a nice portion of the show was revolved around. They had a nice 3-part segment. Excuse me, spread out around the show, and it starts off with Bailey. Going up to Naomi and pretty much just thanking her for being there for her. And let's not forget that one, Naomi was not present during the I guess the ascension of Damage Control, when Damage Control was pretty much roughshotting through the women's division. So she has no ill feelings towards Bailey. All she knows is the Bailey that she knew before she left. Bianca does not like this because she is trying to basically say that all Bailey's trying to do is make sure that her ass is covered while she goes towards the women's championship, and she's not with it. She's trying to talk some sense into Naomi, and Naomi, being the good girl that she is, she knows what it's like to not have friends here in WWE, and she wanted to make sure that, like, some justice is served. So before Bianca can even get her girl moment off on Bailey, Naomi's like, yo, come on, let's get out of here. Walk with me, talk with me. Like, like it was one of those things, and then they cut to a commercial break. But seeing this in the interaction between these three, because I think the dynamic between all these three ladies is really great. How did you feel about this segment, and where do you see this going? Because we're going to get into the Iyo Sky and Naomi match after this as well.
Well, I mean, right now it just kind of seems like they're giving Bailey the Sami Zayn treatment, and Bianca Belair is Jey Uso, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I know what you did in the past. I ain't messing with you. Look at everything that you did in the past few years. And just like Naomi said, your feelings are valid. And that was because Bianca was the champion. Bailey was going after her. Bailey was the heel. Bailey was the leader of the Judgment Day and all of that. And now Bailey is doing a face turn. So, I mean, I don't know what the direction is. I got a feeling that most of this is just to give Bailey the good guy rub, or just for Bailey to try to prove herself or whatever. I mean, I think this might lead to a match between them, where then they probably shake hands afterwards before getting beat up by everybody else. I mean, who knows? Because I don't really see a reason for Naomi and Bianca to be involved in Bailey's title match. But then at the same time, it kind of gives it a little bit more sizzle, because the truth is, it's just that, like, Bailey's match is probably the most predictable match on the card. Unfortunately, all of the champions in the main roster in the women's division are people where English isn't their first language, right? So now I don't know what the results of that are on the other side of the world, but the SmackDown Women's Champion is jobbering, basically. Like, she's just in the background. She's not like she's not like a main focus of the show. She's had that title for a long time already, and in my opinion, I feel like nobody cares. You know what I mean? The voice of that entire group was Bailey, and now it looks like it's going to be Dakota Kai. Asuka is nowhere near as impactful and powerful as she was when she was the NXT Women's Champion that was undefeated and all of that Goldberg is bitching about. You know what I mean? Like, It was just that the stock that they have, I just don't feel it. Maybe because I'm old. I might just be that. But I don't feel they just don't feel like champions to me. You know what I mean? I think that they put the straps on them and they did all of this to make them look good for Okada and for whoever it is that they're trying to sign from New Japan. But they just don't feel like champions. Like that's the thing. And the truth is that look, Iyo's belt is supposed to be the top woman's belt, but Rhea Ripley's belt clearly is.
Yeah.
Mommy is on top. You know what I mean? And Iyo's number 2. Yeah, straight up. That's the she's number 2, and she shouldn't be because she's got the company belt. You know, so I have no idea where this is going, but clearly, you know, Bayley's gonna be the new champion. And maybe this might just be foreshadowing for Bianca versus Bayley. You know, like on a fair fight or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? It might be they might set this up like John Cena versus Daniel Bryan type shit, SummerSlam. You know what I mean? Who knows? But yeah, Bayley's clearly winning that title. Everybody knows it. Nobody's really excited for it. I got a feeling that's going to be a bathroom break match. I hope not, because Iyo Sky is an amazing wrestler. Her and Bayley could do quality in that match. But the reality is that nobody's excited for it. So I think that adding Bianca and Naomi as a little bit more sizzle, like I said before, and not to ramble anymore, hopefully that's what it is.
I will say that I actually enjoyed last night's segment with those ladies because um, they actually did make them ladies look like they made Damage Control look pretty serious um, for the first time in a long time since Bailey's not been there, right? Like Naomi's waiting in the ring, and Iyo Sky's music. I'm gonna tell you, Iyo Sky got some of the dopest music. That
Yeah.
bass line when it drops, that is fire. That is fire. Like, and I'm just saying that, and the music is going and going and going. I'm like, and you see everybody else in Damage Control out there. Oscar's out here just shaking her little hips and shit. Like, by the way, for those that said Oscar was injured, I did not see no injury. She was running, she was jumping, she was kicking. So
yeah, she's probably just a strain, but I heard about that injury. Apparently,
yeah, so shame on all of us for just believing everything on the internet. We should know.
I mean, it's sad, but you know, we all chase the clickbait.
We did, and I thought that this was a really good, strong moment. I thought it was a good, strong moment for Asuka. I thought it was a good moment for Bayley, because it makes you feel for Bayley because she can't really catch a break, because of the things that she's done to people, and there was nobody around to help her. Right, the one person that would have helped her is in the ring, who's supposed to be facing the person that is assaulting her, and so Iyo comes to the ring, and I will say that Naomi had some great offense versus Iyo in that match. And the one thing that I've noticed about Naomi is her arsenal of attacks is very much different and even more unorthodox. She did something where she threw her body at Iyo in the lower right corner, and then she followed up with like a fake punch, but then like a kick, like a small one-legged drop kick. I thought that was kind of dope because it was like a smooth motion. I'm like, okay, Naomi, you showing me some stuff here, right? But eventually the numbers game always wins. And we see Iyo. We were talking about moonsaults, right? Like, Iyo has a beautiful moonsault. Charlotte has a beautiful moonsault. Tiffy Tom has a beautiful moonsault. But Iyo's moonsault doesn't get the height, but it gets the distance.
Yeah.
Right? Like that, and that's the difference.
No.
Like Charlotte,
I mean,
Charlotte can get it.
Her
Charlotte can get it. She can get the distance a little bit. Tiffy Time, she just curls more up in the air, so hers are really close. But Iyo just gets distance, man. She doesn't get the height, but she gets that distance, and she can reach almost anybody in that ring. And I thought that was a beautiful moonsault. And we finally we get them pretty much. This was the scene at the end. Bianca tries to help Naomi. That miss that Asuka threw in Naomi's face. Jeez,
I thought that was
sick.
great because that kind of brought Naomi back. I don't think Naomi ever experienced that. So, you know.
Listen, though. Yes.
Lita's moonsault, that's a whole nother ball game. Lita didn't have the expectations.
Lita had the distance though. Lita had you know what? Lita's moonsault changed when she started fucking with S.A. Rios. A lot of people don't remember that S.A. Rios. S.A. Rios was the guy, man. I thought he was gonna be big. I thought he was gonna be like the next coming out of Juventud. And they said we don't need two Juventudes. Get rid of S.A. Keep the girl. Like we don't need we don't need a whole bunch of y'all.
I mean, but Lita's better known for her Hurricanrana. Like that side Hurricanrana type shit. Like her moonsaults were like, oh wow, a woman doing a moonsault type shit.
Yeah, that was unheard of at that time.
That's what it was.
Curvin, I will agree with you. This has been my stance the whole time. This was my stance when we were talking about who was going to face Rhea. Was it going to be Nia? Was it going to be Becky? Was it going to be Liv? I would have taken a Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley before I'm taking Rhea over Becky. It's just no way that you can. There's just no way that you guys can convince me one of the 4 horsewomen who are supposed to be the greatest women in the history of this business is an underdog. It's just no way. That's like trying to tell me that John Cena is an underdog. A 16-time, 15-time, 16-time champ is an underdog. You can't convince me at that point anymore. That's like telling me Charlotte Flair is going to be an underdog. No, it's Charlotte freaking Flair.
Yeah, but Becky Lynch is the underdog.
None of those women are underdogs. Like
Becky Lynch is the underdog.
You have established yourself as legends in this business. Right? Once you are acquired legendary status, how can you ever be an underdog?
Becky Lynch is the underdog. That's my thing, though.
But you can't make me believe that. That's my thing. WWE hasn't made me believe that. And that's why I would agree with Curvin here and saying that the Bayley versus Iyo storyline is much more intriguing to me. Oh, my God.
Do you think? Well, yeah, no. I understand where he's coming from because it's a little bit more fresh. It's probably a little bit less predictable than Rhea versus Becky. But personally, I think that everybody's just excited more about Rhea versus Becky because it's going to be a better match. Those two are going to put on a quality match. You know what I mean? And depending on when the card is, like those two are definitely going to put on a quality match. And then, like I said before, Rhea Ripley feels way more of a champion than Iyo Sky does.
Iyo Sky is very forgetful.
Even the girl in NXT feels more of a champion than Iyo Sky does. And mind you, Iyo Sky had one of the most memorable NXT Women Championship runs ever. And which is sad to say because she's the first one. She's the first one with that pretty ass belt that looks just like Roman's belt, but then it's like she's a jobber. And the girl, and look, and the thing is that we all know she's not a jobber. She puts on garbage cans and jumps off the top of the cage. Come on now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this woman does her shit, but her presentation is terrible right now. I'm sorry. For her to be the champion and be presented this way is just terrible. So whatever happens, we'll see. I'll be shocked if she keeps the title at WrestleMania. Straight up.
Her run is just, it's not memorable, but I get pretty much what Bayley set out to do with Damage Control. She's accomplished.
Oh yeah, definitely, because everybody's got a big name, and mind you, even Dakota Kai, like, because I didn't think she was going anywhere.
Oh, the real ones, we know about King Coda. The real ones know about King Coda. There will be no King Coda slander here at Unpopular Review. Absolutely not. As long as I'm on the show, there is no King Coda slander.
Well, I'm sorry, because the first time I found out about her was playing WWE Immortals. Like, that's the first time I found out about Dakota Kai. I'm like, who the hell is this? I mean, and then when she did that betrayal angle, then I was like, oh wow, this woman is something else, and that's it.
Listen,
but
if you think there's no woman bigger for betrayals than King Coda, because she will definitely betray you. She's betrayed every single partner that she's had.
She's the female Kevin Owens.
People definitely know King Coda from her pairing with Raquel Gonzalez. They were really great together. But I thought it was pretty ironic that we got that scene, right? And then immediately we get a vignette of Miss Jade Cargill making her first official appearance as a SmackDown superstar. Right?
Oh, okay.
I thought the irony of them just showing that you got these two beautiful black women getting beat down by these foreigners, and then you show a vignette of another beautiful black woman who is set to make her appearance next week. And we talked about this like 2-3 shows ago, that it could be the all black women versus the foreigners. We talked about this.
That could be it.
And I still don't know how I feel about it, right? Like, sometimes us as African American wrestling fans, we sometimes want the all black faction, but and sometimes we don't want the all black faction because we don't want like minds to be in the group. But other times we do want the like minds to be in the group, but we don't want the like minds to fight each other. Just have them go their separate ways. But it's like, this is inevitable, right? Like, these three ladies are inevitable. And we saw a preview of that at Royal Rumble, with Jade and Bianca manhandling their opponents in the ring and mirroring each other. Like,
personally, I think that they should keep Jade Cargill away from these people. I think that Jade Cargill should have a match with Nia Jax.
I was still on that train. I think that ship has sailed, right? But the thing about
I think they can bring her right back, because they still show Jade Cargill picking up Nia Jax, doing the little flex. Plus, she threw her out of the Royal Rumble. And Nia Jax can just come back, be super petty about it, and come back and just start a feud next week. If she comes out and just does like a little interview, Nia Jax can come out, bam.
You know what? I get what you're saying there. And the question, that is a big question on the Raw side. Where does Nia Jax go from here? Because it's looking like she doesn't have an appearance on the card. And what does WWE like to do? Women's Battle Royals. So it looks like those two women will be in a Women's Battle Royal. We'll have another, Rumble moment with these ladies. If she does not add on as a third to face off versus Damage Control with Bianca and Naomi.
I mean, look, if all of a sudden you have, because is there a women tag teams championship match on the card?
No.
Like, are these women defending the, like, if all of a sudden Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair become champions, like, that would be awesome. I think that would pop the whole show. You know what I mean?
I think it would be Bianca. I think it would be Bianca and Naomi.
On Bianca and Naomi too. That helps too. I mean, mind you, it makes sense.
Jade would be in their corner because Dakota would be in the corner of the Kabuki Warriors, in which that could be a thing, right?
That could be. And then Mercedes Moné would be at the top of the show, clapping them up
with a hoodie on. The thing about Jade Cargill is, I think that Jade Cargill is here for a good time, not a long time. She is an attraction, and she's made it very known that she wants to do other things. She's a Swiss Army knife in her career right now, being far-fetched into everything. Her fitness, she wants to get into acting, she does some modeling, she does not powerlifting, I think that CrossFit. She does some sort of training. But it Raw probably does need Jade Cargill, but right now it's for Fox. Fox
Mhm.
needs all the stars. Fox needs to end
Yeah.
that partnership strong
Yeah.
before they go into before SmackDown gets turned over to USA. So I get that. So when
Well, I
it
mean,
goes to
USA
the
needs it too
Netflix deal,
because
the Netflix deal will probably get us a lot more stars on Raw. But I think right now SmackDown needs to be continue to be presented as a big deal for USA for when it gets turned over.
Yeah. I mean, but same thing for USA because like everybody is losing wrestling. It's all going to Netflix. Like the way that I'm a little disappointed by it because like I'm gonna be sad to see the USA Network go and not watch wrestling on the USA Network that I've been doing for the past 30 years. You know
You
what I
won't be
mean?
able to see it on Mondays. You'll see it on Fridays.
You know what I mean.
Yeah. But
You know what I'm saying? Like
I get
what
it. It's
turning
been a
into
staple.
Monday Night Raw on the channels, and you know what I'm saying? That's my point,
For
right?
to be on USA for so long, because when it was on
Yes.
Spike TV,
Oh
it was
God.
weird.
Yes, it was.
It was
Even when it
weird.
was in TNN for a little bit, it
Yeah,
was weird,
it was
right?
weird
But
because
it's
that was
just
like a NASCAR country channel. Like,
and for it to not to be for things not to be on USA, like Fox, I get it because Fox it's short term. These guys came around in 2019, right? But like I remember Shawn Michaels losing his smile on the USA Network. You understand? That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the Manhattan Center Monday Night Raw. Like this is just it makes me sad. But hey, it is what it is. Everything evolves, everything gets better. And I'm old enough to say that the show has gotten way better over the years. So anyway, back to Jade Cargill. Back to Jade Cargill, because I think she I don't necessarily agree that she's gonna be there for a short time. But the one thing that I do love about her is just that she in my opinion puts AEW on the map a little bit more than Cody Rhodes does. Why do I say that? Because the only reason why we know who this woman is because of AEW. Like, Cody Rhodes is different. You know what I mean? We knew him as Dashing Cody Rhodes and all this other stuff, Stardust and all this other stuff. But Jade Cargill is a testament to AEW because all she had to do is bring her name. Everybody knows who she is. Everybody's ready for her. Everybody's excited about her. And it was all because of, her being the TBS champion for so long. So, that's definitely a testament to Tony Khan and AEW because, so far I haven't seen it.
I don't think
If MJF shows up,
I don't think it was actually her being the TBS champion. I think it's the sense of Mike. We're not talking about AEW. We're talking about Jade Cargill. That was a nice try, though. That was a nice try. I see what you did there. The fact that it's her look. She looks like what we got to see as kids and seeing Storm from the X-Men. If there is anybody outside of Holly Berry that looks like Storm from the X-Men, it is this woman that we get to see on our TV every week. And then you slap a belt on her and put her out there every week. Most people wasn't. I mean, her matches were 45 seconds at most.
Facts.
Maybe a minute.
No,
and a
she
half.
definitely got a Goldberg run.
Yeah,
that's what I thought was happening with her. But my whole point is just that the branding that they did of this woman was very, very good. And it was so good that like they didn't have to do much to introduce her, and they didn't even repackage her.
No,
because they could have done that. They didn't repackage her at all. Gave her the same name and everything. You know what I mean? It's not like that. I don't know if that's her actual name, her government name, but they didn't do that. They didn't have to. You know what I mean? And like I think the only other person that could probably do that right now is MJF, if those rumors are true.
Oh yeah, they're not changing no daggone MJF. No.
No, but my whole point is just that like she's the first person ever since the quote unquote Tuesday or Wednesday Night War era that we have now, to ever do it on the reverse side, because WWE guys have just been going there, and getting the huge pops right away, and then that's it, right? But on the reverse side, this is the first time it happened, and I don't count Cody Rhodes.
Right. I want to talk about this before we get into the main event. This vignette was fire. They treated this like a big deal.
Yeah.
A really big deal. And I hope that they continue to treat things like this. Just a bomb-ass week of shows for WWE. Raw, the one shot of Sami Zayn walking to the back. And then you ran into Regeneration X talking. And then, you know, Truth and Miz are coming to the ring, and the camera just keeps rolling, and the camera keeps rolling until they get to the ring. Like, that was something, like, that was one of the things that I've seen on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, that people, like, it's something so small, but it changed the way that you viewed the show. And I thought that was so fire. But things like this as well, vignettes, for a period in time, in the past like 4 years, we didn't get a lot of vignettes unless Vince liked the guy and he wanted to push it, and it wasn't the obvious guy. Like, how many times did we see Veer is coming to Monday Night Raw?
A million
and then
times.
for like 8 months we saw it. Like, where the hell is my guy at? And then he's pushed like a big deal, and then he's not a big deal. It just sucked because the vignettes didn't equal up to the person that we were getting, right? But this looks powerful. Like, Braun Breaker is a big deal. In-ring shuttles, 4 minutes, 4 seconds, 27 seconds. A broad jump is 10 and a half, almost 10 and a half feet.
You know what's crazy about him? He has his uncle's charisma and body, but he has his father's mic skills. That's kind of what saddens me about him, because
he sounds just like his damn uncle too.
Yeah, but he's got his father's mic skills. Baron Corbin is perfect for him.
Yeah,
I love that he's an NXT Tag Team Champion. I love that Baron Corbin is helping him. I just hope that, you know, he definitely gets better on the mic, because you can see that sometimes he's like nervous or forgets his lines. You know what I mean? But everything else is spot on. Like, because he's definitely like a Scott Steiner. He just needs to learn about, you know, 33.5 percentage and all of that.
He ain't got the math right. He got to get
exactly.
Math,
he's got to get the Steiner math down.
He's got to get the Steiner math popping. That's the only problem. But I thought this was fire, man. Like that was, just to see that them do that for him, I thought it was pretty cool. Before we go into the main segment, let us take one more break, and then we will catch y'all in about a minute.
Real quick, I'm going to read this. Stacks is a fraud wearing Louis Vuitton.
Okay, listen, Jeff, if you're going to talk shit about Stacks, at least spell the name of the brand right. It's Louis Vuitton with a U, not an I, number one. And number two, not every mafioso needs to wear Italian anything. You can wear French, you can wear Spanish, you can wear Asian. You can wear any type of brand from other places. It doesn't have to be just Italian. Yes, they're acting as stereotypical Italian mafia people.
I'm sorry.
Every mafia person out there in the world only wears Italian name brand designers. No, they wear other stuff too.
I'm sorry. I'm trying not to laugh so hard, but this was great. Like, I like how, like, you saw this comment and you immediately was like, look, okay, all right.
If you're going to insult somebody with something, at least spell it right. And that is not how you spell Louis Vuitton, because Louis Vuitton is with a U, not an I.
I'm glad that you... See, I would have never saw the difference here. And here it was, you immediately said, no, get that out of here, because that's wrong.
Loving fashion, I know a thing or two.
That is the NXT review crew. Bad Guy Jack, Wrestling Doll. Let's get into this face-off with Cody and Roman, because it's been a long time that we got to see a face-off with Cody and Roman just one-on-one. We hadn't seen that since around this time of last year. And go to your room. Thank you. Put it in the trash. We haven't gotten that since last year when he said that he was going to be. I mean, it was one of the most fire Cody promos that I remember seeing, and it did make you believe for a second that maybe he can beat Roman, right? And they kind of don't mess up the formula of what's going on between them now, and I think this is a good mixture of what they have. Roman pretty much tells Cody the same thing that he told him last year. You can't do it. You ain't got it, right? And Cody pretty much tells him that I am the one, right? Which is very well could be it. I think all signs point to it, right? But the problem is, there's also the person that is saying that they're the one is also his tag partner. And a lot of people for this went over a lot of people's heads, right? And the verbiage that is going through these promos when people say Curvy, you said this segment was weak. I disagree. It's sometimes every in-ring interaction between challenger and champion or two people that have a disagreement, it doesn't need to be physical, right? It doesn't need to be physical, not at this point right now. It's about the dissecting what they said and the way that they said it, right? And Roman tells Cody, Cody tells Roman that I'm a man of my word just as much as you are a man of your word. We all know that Roman's not a man of his word, and Cody just said, I'm moving off that same energy, bro. I'm moving off the same energy that you giving out. So when we cut to it, you see Jimmy going through one side of the crowd, Solo's on the other. They're creeping in. And Cody looks scared, right? Cody looks scared. And then, which was a weird part, was the fact that Solo and Jimmy went to go to the entrance instead of staying towards the ring. And then we see Jay on one side and we see Seth on the other side, dressed just like those guys. And then we get the face off between all of those men that are going to be facing off at Mania, and a really dope shot, in my opinion. I thought it was a really dope shot because you got pretty much what the storyline has been for a long time with all of these people involved in it. What did you think about the segment and the final shot that we got on SmackDown?
I'm curious to see what the hell is happening with Solo Sikoa. Look, Seth Rollins' opponent is not there.
Yeah.
Right. And unless you're watching Raw, it kind of seems like that's the match that's getting the least amount of push. So Seth might actually keep that belt. Now, Roman and Cody, obviously, Jay and Jimmy, obviously, so that's part of it. Looks good. However, at the same time, what I don't like about this entire thing is that both of them went against their word, right? So now WrestleMania Night 1 is supposed to be about getting rid of the entire bloodline. This shows right here that clearly that's not going to happen. Whether they win the match or they don't on Night 1, clearly that's not going to happen. So, I'm very curious to see what happens during Roman's match. So now it might be one or two things. They might do another Solo Sikoa where somebody else comes out, because apparently there's other people in the family that are coming in towards WWE, right? It could be that, or it could be for Cody finally finishing the story. I think that, and I know there's a lot of people that disagree with this, but I think that Cody finishing the story does not take away from Roman's story. If Roman fights The Rock, or if Roman fights somebody else for the beads and things like that, and they continue this whole thing, it would be great. Now, Jay and Jimmy, they're not fighting for anything. There's no, you know what I mean? There's no brass ring. There's no nothing. They're just fighting. And that's where they can continue to keep this going. They don't need belts for it. Look, neither one of them has a tag championship or anything. You know what I mean? But the storyline is that one went to go become a tag team champion without the other. And that's what they can fight for. So the story between Rock and Roman could be deeper than that. The story between Seth and Roman can be deeper with that. Look how Roman said, look, Seth is my little brother. And here's the thing, Seth definitely can turn on him, you know? And mind you, I really liked how when Cody flipped it on him, it was like, Rock could turn on you. Then all of a sudden, oh, you're a politician. You're a politician. You're a politician. You know how to spin things. You know how to say things. You know how to da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. This is what I hate about that word politician. When people use the word politician, that's how much they show how much they know, how little they know about government. And now that's a whole nother show for a whole nother day, because people don't know the positions in place, right? But you know, when you can generalize things, because this country is all about labeling and generalizations, when you can generalize things that much and just call them a politician, that's when you're running away from the facts. So I really like that, because like that kind of made Roman look a little weak. And then mind you, when Cody tried to shake his hand and all of that, I like how Roman went and shook the wise man's hand instead, and just waited this whole thing. I mean, I liked it. I thought it was great. I thought it was a good little
Let me ask you this: where on the card does Seth versus Drew happen?
I don't know. That's the thing, and I wonder if that shit is on night 1 or night 2. Straight up, because I haven't seen that. You barely mentioned that shit. Now here's another one. Drew McIntyre might come out of nowhere, out of frustration, and then fuck up the match or whatever.
He could cost them he could cost him for Cody.
I mean, personally, it makes sense for Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre to be on night 1 of WrestleMania. But then,
and in your opinion,
Seth Rollins doing. No, I mean, but then the problem with that is just that then Seth literally has to do double duty in one night. So clearly that's not going to happen. Clearly it's going to be night 2, right? But in my opinion, I think just because of the fact that Seth Rollins has been champion for long enough, I think that they should just put it on Drew McIntyre and then have Drew McIntyre fight whoever. You know what I mean?
They could even start Mania if he's doing double duty. He can start Mania.
Yeah, but I mean, you see, now I personally think that Damian Priest is gonna walk out with the championship, because
I can see it.
It's time already, or at least try to cash in. I definitely think that might happen, but who knows whether it's going to be night 1 or night 2. Now, the thing is that who knows what's the story that's going to tell, because literally, I think Seth Rollins would be the only one that is going to wrestle 2 times in the same night. So I don't think they're going to do that. Clearly, the Rock and Roman thing is going to happen. Is going to happen the first night, but as far as like the championship title matches, both of them might happen on night 2. Or maybe they just do both women's matches on night 1 and then both men's matches on night 2. Who knows? You know what I mean? Because it's a lot. It's a lot. They got a lot to do. But I certainly don't see Seth Rollins defending that championship on night 1. So, I mean, night 1 might be, as far as like championship titles goes, I got a feeling it's gonna be Gunther and the 2 girls. You know what I mean? And then everybody else on night 2. Or maybe just Gunther and Bailey, fighting for titles, and then Rhea Ripley on night 2 with everybody else. Which makes sense, because everybody wants to see
Rhea Ripley. It's so hard to predict that like you have to have your star power on night 1 as well as night 2, right? And I can't even remember, but I'm gonna have to go back and watch WrestleMania from last year. It's so crazy, because like as many memorable moments that we watch in wrestling, right? We consume so much wrestling on a weekly basis that like I can't even tell you half of the matches that were on WrestleMania just last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not even that far away. You know what I'm saying? So, but it's I can't remember it. So it's like to remember how that card was stacked. I do not know, but like you still have the 5 team ladder match. You, like you said, Gunther. Um,
But here's the other thing you got to remember: this is WrestleMania 40, so
mhm.
there's gonna be surprises. There's gonna be legends coming out and doing shit, like you know what I mean, or saying things. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if there's some kind of a segment with Hogan and Bret Hart and Undertaker and John Cena and Stone Cold. You know what I mean, like
Yeah.
something with them being involved in something. So, but then at the same time with Vince doing Vince stuff. Like who knows where they're gonna take it. This is literally gonna be the most unpredictable show ever because of everything that happened. So that's exciting.
I agree. I just it's tough to say where WWE is going, and that's a good thing. That's a
Mhm.
good thing. I still don't see uh I don't see Roman losing. I will stand on that. I don't see Roman losing. There's no way that you build what we see as grade A cinema with the bloodline angle and the head of the table. We've been at this thing for 4 years. Um, there's no way you get this close to Hogan's record and you don't erase it. Well, not erase it, but it's not no way that you don't push it down the totem pole. Um, let's not forget WWE immediately did that with CM Punk's uh, title reign. He was one of the longest reigning WWE champions. They made sure they got rid of that for a long, like they kept pushing it down the ladder.
Mm.
Um, so they made sure they got. So um, I would definitely say it happens. He reaches uh the man is already in God mode. I don't even know what kind of mode you're going to put on him at this point because
I mean,
once he
you
achieves
know,
that,
here's the thing.
he's Hall of Fame status.
I
He's
really
Hall of
don't
Fame.
think. I really don't think he's already at Hall of Fame status. The guy was at WrestleMania 31. You know what I mean? Like as far as like Roman Reigns has been the top guy probably for the last 10 years. You know what I mean? Like he fought Brock Lesnar and then Seth Rollins came and took the title. Like people forget how long ago that was. You know what I'm saying? So like as far as like numbers go, I really don't think people care about that anymore. I really don't. Like I don't think that's a big deal. Nobody's ever gonna beat Bob Backlund's title reign, but Bob Backlund is not somebody that many people remember. Mind you, at the same time, they didn't have all of these shows every week. Bruno
Yeah.
San Martino wrestled once a month. You know what I mean? So everybody's counting days and all of this other stuff. And you know what I mean? And mind you, I understand how much people hate Hogan, but like he barely gets mentioned. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, my point is just that like this whole thing with numbers, like, I mean, it's good, it looks good, it makes a champion look great. You know what I'm saying? Like they did it with Gunther and all of that. Like
Mhm.
Gunther is the greatest of all time at this point, but he can drop the belt already, you
Yeah.
know, and go after a bigger belt. But my point is just that I don't think that people care about these numbers as much as it's said. Like if he doesn't beat Hogan, as far as that number goes, I don't
Yep.
really think it matters.
I think it
Because it's
matters.
not. I don't think it does because the thing is Hogan's stock isn't going up. You know what I mean? Hogan is remembered for the way that he made people feel in the 80s. And that's not going to change regardless of what he said.
But as long as you do have fans like Mr. Mike Knox, like Vaughn, that refuse to say that man's name because
Of
of
course,
something
but then
that he did, but
how
at
big
the,
of the population is that? Let's be honest here. That's a
the
very
internet
small
wrestling,
part of the population.
while you
That's a
may say it's a very small part, the internet wrestling community is a powerful and toxic one
Of
if it is snapped at the
course.
right time, and that's the
Of
problem.
course, but here's the
That's the
thing,
problem.
though. They would have never brought him back if they didn't look. If Hogan wasn't still selling shirts and selling merch, they would have never brought him back. They wouldn't have put him all over this stuff. They wouldn't be selling all this Hulkamania 40 merch. If it was
I agree.
if it was that impactful to their business, and it's not. When he first did it, they got rid of him completely. When Ric Flair was on Dark Side of the Ring, they got rid of him completely because it was bad press. Once that fell off a little bit, and the handful of people that still cared about that, you know what I mean, are not really impacting the business, then they left it alone. That's what they always do.
I agree.
You know what I mean? Because it's unfortunate. I mean, like, I'm not justifying or saying that what he did is valid or good or anything like that. But my point is that you can't force people to give a fuck about shit they don't give a fuck about. You know what I mean?
I am of
and
the
there's a whole bunch of people that just don't.
I am of the ilk of the man was in his house. I'm pretty sure a lot of us had some shit up in our house that a lot of people on the internet would not agree with, whether it's racist or sexist. It doesn't matter, right? So he was filmed unknowingly saying some stuff in the privacy of his own home.
That's right.
I get it.
Yeah.
It is what it is. But at the same time, if there's guys like a Big E, a Booker T, New Day, even legends that are African American that he's had conversations with, and they say, "Hey, you made a mistake, and it is what it is. We forgive you." Then why the hell can't fans do it? This is why I was never on the stance of
because it's more fun to be mad. It's more fun to be mad than be happy.
Yeah, but I wouldn't want anybody to disrespect my accomplishments or what I did. And you know what I'm saying? So that's why I would never not say that man's name, because I was a Hulk Hogan fan. Granted, I was a Hollywood Hogan fan, but still Hulk Hogan fan nonetheless. But tomato, that's what makes the internet wrestling community so broad. So it can change the trajectory of the way that we view things, the way that we interpret them. But
I mean, look, the main point behind all of that was just that, like, I don't
is Roman better than Rock?
No, it's not even that. It's not even that.
Roman better than Hogan?
No, it's not that. It's just that as far as like the numbers thing, like just making sure that Roman Reigns keeps the title just to preserve so that he can surpass Hogan in those numbers things. I don't think that's the top billing. I don't think that's the main goal here. I really don't. Like, because I personally don't think that that is that important. You know, I know that they make it a big part of the characters and a big part of the show.
But Hogan's pretty old, right? Bruno Sammartino, Bob Backlund, like we can't like so the records have to be updated. They have to. Flair's on the downside of it. He's on the back nine of his life, right? And who will carry on, 16-time champion John Cena.
All right. The only person that could do that now is Randy Orton. Randy Orton can get.
I think that Randy can tie and break. I think
probably, but John Cena could have broke. John Cena could still break. You know what I mean? He could get a quick title run. No, they're probably not, because he's The Rock now. But but my whole point is just that, like, does anybody even care about that anymore? Because truth be told, Ric Flair is a 21-time champion. You know what I'm saying? So if we start getting into technicalities, because if John Cena would have get 17, right, and then all of a sudden, because Ric Flair actually, you know what I mean? Ric Flair, he won in Puerto Rico one time, the NWA championship, and it wasn't televised, so it's 22. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So that's this thing. Like, people are gonna flip it just to feel good about whatever they want to feel good about. But the truth is that some of these records are just never gonna get broken, because it just doesn't. It's not feasible. The Honky Tonk Man's record to be broken by Gunther after all this time. Come on, man. Like, that's why I say I don't think it's that important. You know how many people have had that Intercontinental Championship since the Honky Tonk Man had it? Like, yo.
Or Santino Morello would call him the Honky Tonky Man.
Exactly.
All right, so we're about to get up out of here, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank everybody in the comments. This is Unpopular Reviews Smackdown show. Before we go, just want to remind everybody, we got a little something for every single person. Mondays at 6 p.m., we got the Mike Knox Show. And then right after Raw, we have the Raw Review Show with Executive Consultant and Uno Dos. On Tuesdays, we have the NXT Review Show with Bad Guy Jack and Wrestling Dog. Wednesdays, we have Dan the Man and Vinny with his outlandish wrestling takes on AEW Dynamite reviews. And then you can come see us on Saturday morning for everything that you saw Friday night for the SmackDown Review Show at 12. And then at that night, we will have the Collision Show. It will be Captain Shay and Sheriff and a guest. I think it's a revolving door of people that are going on for them. So overall, SmackDown still very strong going into Mania. Cannot argue with it at all. WWE is just red hot right now. Both shows are on fire. NXT is on fire. The product is on the up and up. We're coming to the end of the WWE season, and we got about 2.5 weeks left. And we capped it off at Mania, and then we'll have it beginning again all over once we do the Slammies on that Monday. Is it that Monday? It's like that Monday.
I mean, I feel like they should just do the Slammies with the Hall of Fame together and do it one big show. I don't understand why they're doing it. Like, they literally doing it right after SmackDown. So they basically turning SmackDown into a 3-hour show. Right, but is it going to be televised? Or wait, it's going to be on YouTube? No,
probably. They just sprinkled it in like a random Raw or something like that, or they don't even put it. They just give people the awards and they don't even show what it is.
Facts.
Oh yeah, you're right. SmackDown. I agree. I would give that a B. And CM Punk does return this Monday, in which he is guaranteeing that he is showing up at Mania.
Yeah, he probably do color commentary or something.
Possibly, but the way that Drew has been shading him, right? I could see him possibly
costing Drew the match.
And then we get Drew and Punk at SummerSlam or something like that. The
word, because Drew McIntyre has all these Savior of WrestleMania shirts.
Yo, his shirts is probably like, Savage Drew is something that needs to be he needs to be appreciated. But we're gonna get up out of here, y'all. For Vic, I am Zia Silent. This is the SmackDown Review Show, and as always, you guys are amazing. Thank you for being so great in the comment section. Like, share, follow, subscribe, all of that. And as always, drink, be merry, and reach for the sky, boy.